You believe your effort should be visible. It is not. You believe consistency builds recognition. It rarely does. You believe that if you stay disciplined long enough, the system will eventually notice. It will not. This is where your internal model breaks, because you are measuring yourself by what you put in: time, energy, focus, and the system you are inside does not measure input, it measures positioning. This creates a silent contradiction. You increase effort, nothing changes. You increase intensity, still nothing changes. At some point, you start questioning yourself, not because you lack ability, but because your effort produces no structural movement. You feel active, but you remain fixed. This is not failure. This is misalignment. You are operating in a model where effort should equal progress, but the system you are in does not operate linearly. It selects based on leverage, and leverage is not visible from within effort, which is why the harder you push, the more confusing the lack of movement becomes. You are trained to believe that effort GDK compounds. That is only partially true. Effort compounds output. It does not automatically compound position, and position is what determines rank. Hierarchies are not merit systems, GDK based on impact, and impact is not equal to effort. It is a function of reach, of control, of amplification. This is where the misinterpretation happens. GDK someone with higher status. GDK did. But that is not why they are there. They are there because their actions carry more weight, because their decisions affect more than themselves, because their output travels further. The system rewards that, not because it is fair, but because it is efficient. Effort is abundant. Leverage is not. GDK abundant cannot determine hierarchy. GDK is why high-effort individuals often feel invisible. They are competing in a layer where everyone is trying, where everyone is reliable, where everyone is replaceable. Effort becomes noise, and the system filters noise out. The issue is not that you are not working hard enough. The issue is that your effort does not change your structural position. You are optimized for performance, not for leverage. You execute well. You deliver consistently. You meet expectations. But expectations are designed to keep you inside the system, not above it. You are valuable in your role, but your role is not valuable in the structure. That is the difference. If your presence is required for output, you are bound to your time. If your income stops when you stop, you have no structural leverage. If your contribution is interchangeable, you have no scarcity. You are functioning, but you are not positioned. This is why effort feels exhausting, because it resets every cycle. You start again each day, from zero. No accumulation, no amplification, just repetition. And repetition without structural gain creates fatigue. Not physical fatigue, cognitive fatigue, because your brain recognizes the pattern. High input, stable output, no elevation. And it cannot reconcile that with the belief that effort should move you upward. This pattern is not isolated. It is systemic. Entire groups of men operate inside this loop. They increase effort, they refine skills, they optimize routines, but they remain in the same structural tier. Because they are improving variables that do not change rank. Speed increases, accuracy improves, consistency stabilizes. But none of these create leverage. They create reliability, and reliability is rewarded with stability, not elevation. This creates a controlled environment. You are trusted, but you are contained. You are needed, but you are replaceable. From the outside, it looks like progress. From the inside, it feels static, because movement exists without displacement. You are moving within a boundary, not beyond it. This is why time alone does not change position. You can spend years increasing effort and remain in the same tier, because the system does not reward duration. It rewards structural advantage. And structural advantage requires a shift, not an improvement. To understand the system, you need to isolate the core variable: leverage. Leverage is the ability to produce disproportionate outcomes from limited input. One action, extended consequence. One position, expanded influence. This is what changes rank. Leverage appears in specific forms: ownership, distribution, scarcity, capital, visibility. Each of these removes dependency on time. If you control distribution, your output reaches more people without additional effort. If you own assets, they generate return independently of your presence. If you are scarce, your availability itself becomes valuable. These are structural multipliers. They amplify impact. Effort alone does not. Effort is linear. Leverage is exponential. And the system selects for exponential outcomes, not because it prefers them, but because they scale. This is why two individuals can apply similar effort and produce radically different results. One operates with leverage. The other operates within constraints. And constraints compress output. No matter how much effort is applied, if this pattern continues, the outcome is predictable. You will continue to increase effort because effort feels actionable. It gives you a sense of control. But your position will remain unchanged, which means your ceiling remains fixed. Over time, pressure accumulates. Responsibilities increase. Costs increase. Dependence increases. But leverage does not. This creates a tightening loop. You cannot reduce effort because your system depends on it. You cannot pause because income stops. You cannot risk because margin is limited. So you stabilize. And stabilization becomes a trap. Not because it is negative, but because it prevents repositioning. You begin to protect your current structure, even if that structure limits you. This is how stagnation becomes permanent, not through failure, but through maintenance. You are maintaining a system that cannot elevate you, while believing that effort inside it will eventually do so. It will not. The shift is not about intensity. It is about direction. Effort must be redirected toward leverage, not increased within constraint. You begin to evaluate actions differently, not by immediate output, but by long-term positioning. Does this create independence from time? Does this increase control? Does this reduce replaceability? These become the relevant questions. You move away from roles that require constant presence toward structures that persist without you. You reduce exposure to substitution and increase alignment with scarcity. You stop optimizing for reliability and start optimizing for asymmetry. This is slower at first because leverage compounds, and compounding is initially invisible. There is no immediate feedback, no external validation, which is why most people abandon it. They return to effort, because effort produces instant signal, even if it produces no movement. But once leverage begins to accumulate, the system responds differently. Your position stabilizes, then expands. You are no longer measured by how much you do, but by what your position allows. The system does not reward effort. It rewards the placement of effort within structures that scale. That is the difference. And that difference determines where you exist in the hierarchy.